So my name is Alex Kelly and I'm a speech and language therapist. I've been working for over 30 years now. I spent 23 years working in the NHS, and then the last 10 years I've been working independently. So I run two companies, Speaking Space Limited and Alex Kelly Limited. Speaking Space Limited does three things. The first thing is we provide speech therapy and occupational therapy to schools and individuals mainly around Hampshire, but other areas as well. Secondly, we offer a total communication day service for adults with autism or learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities. And then thirdly, we do training in all areas of communication, so that whether that's Makaton or communication generally. We also do autism training. We're quite unique as a company, so there aren't many other speech therapy companies out there doing what we do. And recently we've had two really exciting things happen. The first thing is we've been accredited by the National Autistic Society and got advanced status as well. So that's really exciting. And the second thing is last year we managed to make Romsey the first Makaton-friendly town in the UK. So we're quite proud of what we're doing at Speaking Space Limited, yeah. This all started back in the 90s. I've always been interested in working with children with social skills difficulties, but I was curious as to why sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't seem to work. So I spent 4 years looking at the difference between what worked and what didn't work. And what I discovered was that we really should be working in a hierarchical way. And the beginning is your self-awareness and self-esteem. So we would start with working with children on developing their self-awareness and their self-esteem. And that's because self-awareness is because we need that awareness of who we are and who you are before we start teaching social interaction skills, social skills. Then after that, we need to then work on social skills. So that would be, developing social skills, developing your body language, your conversational skills. And then finally, you would work on friendship skills, which is a much more complicated skill. And so the Talkabout resources follow a kind of hierarchical model. So if you're working with primary age children or children with special needs, you would use the yellow book, then the green book, and then the blue book. If you're working with teenagers and you're using the purple book, then it works through the levels through the book. So that's the basis of the hierarchy of the Talkabout uses. I think there are three things that are different about Talkabout. So the first thing to say is it's measurable. There's an assessment that you use, a baseline assessment, a social skills one, and there's also an assessment on self-awareness and self-esteem and friendship skills. And what we do is we give you a way of measuring the effectiveness of what you're doing. And if you come on my training course, then I also give you other ways to track progress for children. So we set targets and we measure those the progress that children are making on an Excel spreadsheet. Which schools love. That's a really important way of tracking progress. The second thing is that the resources are specific to a client group. So if you're working in secondary mainstream, you're going to use the purple book, the Talkabout for Teenagers. If you're working in an infant school or primary school, you will use the Talkabout for Children series. If you're working with maybe children who are in the middle, so maybe they're in secondary but they need a more visual approach, you would use the second edition book. Or I would use the second edition book if I'm working with young adults, maybe with autism. So they are specific to a client group. And the third thing I would say about Talkabout is that it's a whole scheme of work. It's a whole scheme of intervention. So you've got your books, you download the resources, so you end up with games that you can play. You've got a plan of intervention at the back. And there are also some add-ons like the cards that you can use for group cohesion games. So it's designed to be actually a complete package of intervention.